Let me ask you something. What would you do if your world turned upside down tomorrow? I'm not talking about some fair off, imaginary scenario. I'm talking about real life stuff.
What if you walked into work and found out you no longer had a job?
What if your car broke down and left you stranded? What if a medical emergency hit your family like a freight train? These things aren't just possibilities. They're realities. They happen to people every single day. And you know what? Life doesn't care if you're ready or not. It doesn't wait for you to get your act together before it throws a curveball your way. That's why having a plan, rock, solid, no nonsense backup plan, isn't just a luxury. It's a necessity. Without it, you're gambling with your future, your family, and your peace of mind. And let me tell you something about gambling. The house always wins.
Now I know what you're thinking. Dave, I'm doing fine right now. I've got my bills covered, I've got a steady job, and things are looking pretty good. But here's the truth. Nobody plans for disaster on a sunny day.
It's easy to feel secure when the sun's shining and the skies are clear, but life doesn't work that way. Storms come. The question isn't if they'll come. It's when, and if you're not ready, those storms can take everything you've worked so hard to build.
They don't just knock you off course. They can sink the whole ship. I've seen it happen too many times. A family that's doing just fine 1 minute finds themselves drowning in debt. The next because they weren't prepared for the unexpected. And the saddest part, most of the time, it could have been avoided if they'd just taken a little time to plan ahead.
Let me tell you a story. Years ago, I met a guy named Tom. Tom was living the good life, or so he thought. He had a great job, a nice house, and enough money to take his family on vacation every year. But Tom didn't have a backup plan. No emergency fund, no savings, no insurance. He thought he didn't need it because everything was going so well. Then one day he got laid off. Out of nowhere, just like that, his steady paycheck was gone.
Within a few months, he was behind on his mortgage, his credit card debt was piling up, and the stress was eating him alive. Tom wasn't a bad guy. He wasn't a bad guy. He wasn't irresponsible. He just wasn't prepared.
And the storm that hit him, it could hit any of us.
The difference between people like Tom and the people who come out of a crisis stronger than ever is one thing, a plan.
So let me ask you again, what's your plan? If the worst case scenario happened tomorrow, would you be ready? Or would you be ready? Or would you be scrambling, panicking, and trying to figure out how to keep your head above water?
Because here's the deal. Hope is not a strategy. Wishing for the best doesn't prepare you for the worst. The only way to face life's storms with confidence is to build a shelter before the rain starts.
And that means creating a plan for the unexpected, a plan that protects you, your family, and your future no matter what life throws your way. You don't have to live in fear of what might happen, but you do need to be ready for it.
Because when you're ready, you can face anything. And that, my friends, is a kind of freedom money can't buy. So are you ready to get to work? Let's do this. Let's talk about why so many people avoid building a backup plan. It's not because they don't care or don't understand that life can throw curveballs. Most of the time, it's because they've bought into excuses. Excuses that feel valid in the moment but keep them stuck and vulnerable.
One of the biggest lies we tell ourselves is, that's not going to happen to me.
Oh, really? Let me ask you something. What makes you so special? What makes you so special? What makes you think life's challenges are going to skip over you and land on someone else?
Look, I'm not saying that to be harsh, but the truth is, life is an equal opportunity disruptor. It doesn't matter how smart, hardworking, or careful you are. Things can and will go sideways eventually.
Thinking it won't happen to me isn't optimism, it's denial. And denial doesn't protect you when the storm comes. It just leaves you standing out in the rain with no umbrella.
Another excuse I hear all the time is, I'm too busy to think about that right now. Oh, I get it. You're busy. You're busy. You've got work, kids, bills, and a million little fires to put out every day. I get it because we're all busy. But let me tell you something. If you're too busy to prepare for the unexpected, then you're too busy to handle the fallout when it happens. Being busy doesn't give you a free pass to ignore reality. If anything, it makes preparation even more critical because you're the one who can least afford to have life go off the rails. Imagine adding a job loss or a medical emergency to that already overloaded schedule.
You think you're busy now? Try dealing with chaos on top of chaos. The truth is, you can't afford not to make time for this. Then there's the fear. Oh, this one's big. People avoid building a backup plan because they're afraid to even think about the bad things that could happen. They tell themselves, if I don't think about it, maybe it won't happen. Listen, I hate to break it to you, but that's not how life works. Ignoring a problem doesn't make it go away. It just makes it bigger when it finally shows up. Fear is a terrible excuse because it keeps you stuck and it robs you of the confidence you could have if you were prepared. Facing your fears head on and creating a plan isn't about inviting bad things to happen. It's about taking control so that if they do, you're ready.
And let's not forget the most dangerous excuse of all. I'll get to it later. Later, the procrastinator's favorite word. Later is the land where good intentions go to die. Later is what you tell yourself when you don't feel like doing the hard work right now. But let me ask you this. How many people do you think regret waiting until later when the unexpected shows up and they're not ready? How many people wish they'd taken the time to prepare when they had the chance? Later is a trap, and the longer you stay in it, the harder it is to get out. The truth is, none of us know how much time we have before life throws us a curveball.
The only time you're guaranteed is right now, and the only way to prepare for the future is to start today.
So, what's your excuse? What's the thing that's been holding you back from creating a backup plan? Whatever it is, let me tell you this.
It's not worth it. No excuse is worth the stress, the chaos, and the damage that comes from being unprepared.
You can keep telling yourself, not me, not now, or not yet, but those excuses aren't going to protect you when life happens. The only thing that will protect you is a plan that you take the time to create today so that when tomorrow comes, you're ready for whatever it brings. So let's stop making excuses and let's start getting serious about your future. Because your family, your peace of mind, and your financial stability are too important to leave to chance. Now let's talk about what happens when you have a backup plan. Let me tell you, it's a game changer. A solid plan doesn't just protect you when things go wrong. It gives you peace of mind every single day. Think about it. How much of your stress comes from worrying about the unknown? How much time do you spend lying awake at night thinking, what if this happens? What if that happens? That kind of worry can eat you alive. But when you've got a plan in place, you don't have to live in that constant state of anxiety. You can rest easy knowing that no matter what comes your way, you've got it covered. It's like having a safety net. You might hope you'll never need it, but if you fall, it's there to catch you. And that's priceless. Having a backup plan also puts you in the driver's seat. Instead of being a victim of your circumstances, you become someone who can handle whatever life throws at you. Let's say your car breaks down tomorrow.
For most people, that's a crisis. They don't have the money saved, so they end up putting the repair on a credit card or taking out a payday loan. And just like that, they're deeper in the hole.
But if you've got a fully funded emergency fund, it's not a crisis. It's an inconvenience. You can pay for the repair, move on with your life, and never give it a second thought. That's the power of being prepared. It turns life's disasters into speed bumps instead of roadblocks. But it's not just about money. A backup plan can protect your relationships too. Think about how much strain unexpected challenges can put on a marriage or a family. When you're stressed out, overwhelmed, and scrambling to fix a problem, that stress doesn't stay contained. It spills over into your interactions with the people you love. But when you've got a plan, you can approach those challenges as a team instead of turning on each other. You can say, hey, we knew this could happen, and we're ready for it. Let's tackle it together. That kind of confidence and unity can make all the difference in how you come out of a tough situation. And let's not forget about the freedom a backup plan gives you. When you're prepared, you don't have to live in constant fear of the unknown. You can take risks, chase your dreams, and make bold moves without worrying that one wrong step will send everything crashing down. Want to switch careers? You can do it because you've got savings to fall back on. Want to start a business? You're not scared to try because you've planned for the possibility that it might take time to get off the ground. Preparation doesn't just protect you from the bad, it opens the door to the good. It gives you the freedom to live life on your terms instead of being held hostage by fear.
So let me ask you this. What would your life look like if you had a plan? How much stress could you eliminate? How much stronger could your relationships be? How much more freedom would you feel? That's what we're talking about here. We're not just preparing for worst case scenarios. We're creating a life where you're in control, where you're ready for anything, and where you can move forward with confidence no matter what.
That's the power of having a backup plan. It doesn't just change how you handle the storms. It changes how you live every single day. And that's a kind of peace and power that's worth the effort it takes to build.
So are you ready to experience that for yourself? Because I promise you it's worth it. Let's get to work.
Let's get practical. What does a solid backup plan actually look like? Because it's one thing to talk about the idea of being prepared, but it's another to roll up your sleeves and do the work. A good backup plan starts with an emergency fund. This is your first line of defense against the unexpected. I'm talking about 3 to 6 months of expenses sitting in a savings account, ready to go. And no, this isn't vacation money or new TV money. This is keep the lights on, keep food on the table, and keep a roof over your head money. It's the kind of money that lets you breathe when your car breaks down, when your kid needs to see a doctor, or when you lose your job. And don't tell me, Dave, I can't afford to save that much. You can't afford not to. Start small if you have to. Save $1,000 first. That's your baby emergency fund. Then build it up from there. Sacrifice some luxuries, tighten your budget, and make it happen. Because let me tell you, the peace of mind you'll get from having that safety net is worth every penny. Next, let's talk about insurance. I know it's not a fun topic, but it's essential. Insurance is like a backup plan. For your backup plan, you need good health insurance to protect you from medical bills that could bankrupt you. You need life insurance, especially if you've got a family, to make sure your loved ones are taken care of if something happens to you. And if you're renting or owning a home, you need renters or homeowners insurance to protect your stuff. Don't forget about auto insurance either.
It's not just about following the law. It's about making sure one accident doesn't derail your financial future. Insurance isn't something you should skimp on.
It's part of being a responsible adult. It's how you make sure one unexpected event doesn't destroy everything you've worked so hard to build. Then there's career planning. Let me ask you something. If you lost your job tomorrow, what would you do? Do you have a plan? Are you keeping your resume updated? Are you building relationships and staying connected in your industry? Because here's the thing. Job security is a myth. Companies downsize, industries change, and the unexpected happens. The best way to protect yourself is to stay ready. Keep learning new skills to stay valuable in the marketplace. And have a plan for how you'd get back on your feet if your income disappeared overnight. It's not about living in fear. It's about being proactive and staying in control. Solid backup plan also includes legal and family planning. Do you have a will? Do you have a plan for what would happen to your kids, your assets, or your medical decisions if you couldn't make them yourself?
Nobody likes thinking about these things, but they're too important to ignore. Creating a will, naming a power of attorney, and putting basic legal protections in place isn't just about you. It's about protecting the people you love. And it's not as hard or expensive as you think. A little time and effort now can save your family a lot of stress and heartache down the road.
Finally, don't underestimate the power of community and relationships. Your support system is one of the most valuable parts of your backup plan.
Who do you turn to when life gets tough?
Who's in your corner ready to help you
weather the storms. Building strong relationships with friends, family, and even mentors can make all the difference when you're facing a challenge. But here's the thing. Relationships are a two-way street. If you want people to be there for you, you've got to be there for them. Invest in your community. Be a good friend. Offer support when others need it. That's how you build a network of people who will rally around you when the going gets tough.
So there it is. An emergency fund, insurance, career planning, legal protections, and a strong support system. That's what a real backup plan looks like. It's not flashy. It's not exciting.
But it's the kind of thing that will keep your life from falling apart when the unexpected happens. And let me tell you, putting this plan in place isn't just about protecting yourself. It's about giving yourself the freedom to live without fear. When you've got a plan, you don't have to worry about every little what if that crosses your mind. You can move forward with confidence, knowing that no matter what life throws your way, you're ready. So what's stopping you? Start building your plan today, because the storms are coming. It's just a matter of when. And when they do, you'll be glad you took the time to prepare. Let's be honest. The hardest part about building a backup plan isn't knowing what's to do. It's actually doing it. It's actually doing it. It's taking that first step, making the sacrifices, and sticking to the plan even when it's uncomfortable.
And that's where most people get stuck. They hear about saving an emergency fund, getting insurance, or creating a will, and they think, yeah, that sounds great. I'll do it later. But here's the problem with later. It doesn't show up when you need it. Later doesn't help you when your car breaks down and you're scrambling to pay for repairs. Later doesn't show up when you're sitting in the emergency room trying to figure out how to cover the medical bills.
Later doesn't protect your family if the unthinkable happens. If you keep waiting for the perfect time to start, you're going to find yourself completely unprepared when life throws a curveball your way. The truth is, there's never a perfect time. The time to start is now, right now, not tomorrow, not next week, not after the holidays, now. And let me tell you something. Building a backup plan isn't glamorous. It's not flashy. It doesn't feel exciting in the moment. You're not going to get applause for setting up your emergency fund or hives for buying the right insurance policy.
But you're not doing this for recognition. You're doing it because it's the right thing to do for your future and your family. Think about it like this. When you're building a house, you don't start with the windows or the fancy kitchen countertops.
You start with the foundation. It's not the part people see or talk about, but it's the most important part of the whole house. Without it, everything else falls apart. That's what a backup plan is. It's the foundation of a stable, secure life. It's not flashy, but it's the thing that holds everything together when the storms come.
Now, let's talk about the sacrifices you're going to have to make. Because yes, building a backup plan means giving up some things in the short term. It means saying no to things you want so you can say yes to what you need.
It means putting off the fancy vacation, skipping the new car upgrade, and choosing to live below your means so you can save and prepare. And let me tell you, that's hard. It's not fun to watch your friends go out and spend money like there's no tomorrow while you're sitting at home, focused on building your safety net. But here's the thing, tomorrow does come. And when it does, those same friends are going to be scrambling to keep their heads above water while you're calm, collected, and ready for whatever comes your way. Sacrifices made today pay off tomorrow. You've just got to have the discipline to stick with it. And let me tell you something else. Building a backup plan isn't just about the big dramatic moments in life. Sure, it's there to catch you when the unexpected happens, but it also changes the way you live your day-to-day life. When you know you've got a plan in place, you stop living in fear. You stop worrying about every little what if because you know you're ready to handle it. That peace of mind is priceless. It lets you focus on what really matters, your family, your goals, your dreams.
instead of constantly stressing about the unknown. And when you've got that kind of peace, it's not just you who benefits. Your family feels it. Your kids see it. Your spouse feels the stability and security of knowing that no matter what happens, you've got their back. That's what building a backup plan does. It's what building a backup plan does. It doesn't just protect you. It protects the people you love most. So let me challenge you. Stop waiting. Stop making excuses. Stop telling yourself that you'll get around to it someday. Someday isn't on the calendar. Someday doesn't protect your family. Someday doesn't give you peace of mind. The only way to create a secure future is to take action today. Start small if you have to. Open a savings account and put $100 in it. Call an insurance agent and get quotes for the coverage you need. Sit down and write out a simple will. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be complicated. It just has to be complicated. It just has to be something, because every small step you take is one step closer to the life you want, a life where you're prepared, confident, and ready for anything. So what are you waiting for? The storms are coming, but you don't have to face them unprepared. Take action now and start building the life you deserve. Let's wrap this up with the big picture, because this isn't just about money or insurance or having a will. This is about the kind of life you want to live and the kind of legacy you want to leave behind.
When you build a backup plan, you're not just preparing for the worst, you're creating space for the best. You're building a life where you can wake up every morning without fear hanging over your head, where you can dream big because you know you've got the foundation to support those dreams.
You're not just surviving, you're thriving. And isn't that what we all want? To live a life where we're not constantly reacting to crises, but instead proactively creating the kind of future we want for ourselves and our families. That's the gift you give yourself when you take the time to prepare. But let's be real. It's not just about you. It's about the people you love. What kind of example are you setting for your kids if you're always living paycheck to paycheck to paycheck, stressed out about every little bump in the road?
Do you want them to grow up thinking that's normal? Or do you want to show them what it looks like to live with discipline, purpose, and peace of mind? When you build a backup plan, you're teaching your kids that preparation matters.
You're showing them how to handle life's challenges with grace and confidence. And you're giving them the tools they'll need to do the same when it's their turn. That's a legacy worth leaving. And let me tell you, it's not just your family that benefits. When you're prepared, you're in a position to help others. How many times have you seen someone going through a hard time and thought, I wish I could do more to help?
Well, when you've got your own house in order, you can help. You can step in when someone else is struggling because you're not drowning in your own mess. You can be the person who offers a helping hand instead of needing one.
That's the kind of impact you can have when you're prepared. It's not just about protecting yourself. It's about being a blessing to others. But here's the thing. None of this happens by accident. Nobody wakes up one day and says, wow, look at this amazing backup plan that just fell into place.
No.
It happens because you decide to make it a priority. It happens because you're willing to put in the work, make the sacrifices, and stay disciplined even when it's not easy. And let me tell you, it's worth it. The peace, the freedom, the security, it's all worth it. But you have to decide that it's worth it. You have to take ownership of your life and your future.
Nobody else is going to do it for you. Nobody else is going to do it for you. Nobody else is going to care about your family's security as much as you do.
So if you don't take this seriously, who will? And here's the most important part. Building a backup plan isn't about living in fear. It's about living with confidence. It's about knowing that no matter what comes your way, you're ready. That's a powerful place to be. When you have a plan, you don't have to let life's challenges control you. You're in control. You're the one calling the shots. And that's the kind of life I want for you. A life where you're prepared, confident, and free to focus on what really matters. So here's my final challenge to you. Don't just think about this. Don't just agree that it's a good idea and then go back to life as usual. Take action. Make the decision today to start building your backup plan. Open that savings account. Call your insurance agent. Schedule an appointment with an attorney. Whatever your next step is, take it, because the storms are coming whether you're ready or not. And when they do, you'll either be scrambling to pick up the pieces or you'll be standing strong, knowing that you did the work to prepare. The choice is yours. So what's it going to be? Don't wait. Start now. Build your plan and step into the future with confidence, knowing you're ready for whatever comes your way. You've got this. Now go make it happen.